there.
Oh, okay.
And look,
Those are GPS coordinates. Oh, okay.
actually these are just latitude and longitudes
okay.
of where we're sitting.
Right.
Okay, now we have 6 buttons here and 6 here.
Okay.
This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 L. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 R.
Okay.
6R, where it says route, that's always going to be the next page we have to go to on the setup.
Okay.
But we're not going to do any more setup yet because I don't have any maps.
Uh.
We have told the airplane we're in San Francisco. In other words, I've told the airplane, look man, we are in San Francisco, that's it. Now, we're going to let the airplane decide where it is.
Okay.
You're going to do that. So I need you to get a long arm, reach up to the IRSs and go to the first position called align.
Okay.
And look, something's happening. Turn this one to align.
Okay.
All right? And look, it's counting down from 60 seconds.
Right.
Now, let me tell you, first of all, that's a lie. In real life, it takes 8 minutes. What are those IRSs doing? They are sensing the rotation of the Earth.
Right.
And after about 8 minutes, they're either going to confirm or deny that we're in San Francisco. We've shortened it to 1 minute because you're paying for this time right here.
Right.
So let's see what happens if the IRSs agree with me when they count down to 0. You're going to know if they agree with me. I'm not even going to tell you because you're going to
the
see
map
it.
will display right there.
Watch.
Map display. Okay.
Aligned with a map. Look, mine, because you didn't do it at the same time. Okay, now I want you to congratulate the IRSs. Turn them to the next position called navigate.
Good job, IRS.
Yep.
Okay.
So they now agree. What if they didn't agree with that? What would we see? We wouldn't see a map and instruments,
Right.
and up here we'd see some flashing lights.
Right.
The lights would say alignment, alignment, alignment. If the airplane is moved during that 1 minute or 8 minute alignment, the airplane doesn't align.
Right.
And you know what kind of movement it takes to stop the alignment?
Lateral movement.
Any lateral movement.
Right.
What if the truck that's going to load the bags,
Bumps it.
what if he bumps the airplane during the alignment?
Forget it.
The alignment fails.
Right.
That's how sensitive IRSs are.
Right.
Okay? They can sense 1/10 of a millimeter movement of the
Okay.
airplane. That's how they navigate it so accurately.
Right.
All right, so now the airplane has position, and look, the map looks like the bay. That's San Francisco. This is the city. This is Oakland. The Golden Gate Bridge goes across there.
Right.
That's the Pacific. So black is water, green is the
Land.
ground.
Okay.
All right. So now we've done that. We need to finish programming this, but before we do that, we have to turn all our systems on.
Right.
So you were right here. Come right to the hydraulic panel.
Okay.
What is
And
hydraulic in
pumps.
the airplane?
That's like the power steering fluid.
But what is hydraulic in the plane?
That's the
Okay,
yoke. Is
you
the
ready?
controls.
The gear, the flaps,
Flaps,
everything on the yoke, the
right,
spoilers, the
of course.
brakes, the rudder. And we have no hydraulic pressure. Look, there's 4 hydraulic pumps here sitting off.
Demand pumps.
Turn them on for me, please, all of them. And those are also safetied.
Right.
Let's look at those pumps. Look what happened here.
Wow. Yeah.
2 lights went out. Why? They're electric. You
Electric.
turned on the electric. What about these 2? Engine?
Generators.
The engines aren't running.
Right.
Just like the engine generator drives
Right.
are not running until we start the
Start the
engines.
engine, yeah.
But look at your hydraulic panel.
Uh-huh.
You have hydraulics.
Right.
The only thing on now is that yaw
Yaw
damper.
damper, right.
That's the little computer
Okay.
that's going to work the rudder for you
For
when
you.
it turns in flight.
All right.
Takes 2 things to make that light go out. You have to have a good position in here with a map,
Okay.
and you have to have hydraulic pressure on the airplane, which we have.
Okay.
Put that switch on.
Okay.
Count to 3, and if the light goes off, we can
1,
continue.
2, 3.
That's it. Now, these bright lights are the fuel valves.
Uh-huh.
They will not go out until we put the fuel lever up. Watch as I start to move the fuel lever. Look, the valves go out. I don't want to move it up anymore.
Right.
Because what's that doing is that's letting fuel go into the engines. And when that lever gets up to about here, you know what else it does? It starts a spark plug in the engine that
igniter.
ignites the fuel air
Right,
mixture.
right.
That's so the igniters are on here. So these aren't going to go out till we start the engines.
Right.
We've already got the fuel pumps on.
Excellent.
This is a window to the electrical system.
Uh-huh.
Notice our APU is putting out,
Uh-huh.
but our left generator and right generators are not
Uh-huh.
because the
The
engines
engines
aren't
aren't
running.
running.
So all that does
Uh-huh.
is show us the electrical system.
Right.
Not much else to do right there.
That's
Up
interesting.
here, I'm already here. I'm just going to turn these 4 switches on.
Uh-huh.
And you're going to see some enunciators come on.
Okay.
We heat the windows in flight.
Right.
We don't heat it for icing,
Right.
de-icing. We heat it because when we're going to fly, it's cold.
Cold.
And if that window breaks, a cold window,
Yeah.
it's like an ice cube. It's going to shatter and take us out and
Right.
kill us.
The whole thing
A
will turn
win-
white, the whole
a
cockpit.
warm window may only frost over
Right.
and crack.
Yeah.
So that's why we heat the front windows. Now, these amber lights are showing that the physical probes on the sides of the airplane that measure the air going by, the heat for those are off. Those we heat all the time. Not only do we want to keep them de-iced, but if we fly through a cloud and it's above freezing, the airplane's going to get wet. We don't want that moisture to get in the system and muck all that stuff up.
Right.
If you've ever driven in the fog, stick your hand out the window and you're going to put your hand in wet. Okay? So we don't want moisture or ice to form on these.
Right.
So I'm going to put these on,
Oh, the pitot tubes.
and that heats up the pitot.
Right.
We even have a little wing out there like that, and as we go faster, the wing raises, and it tells us our angle of attack,
Wow.
or something we call alpha. Alpha is very important to us. We don't talk alpha in the airplane, but the computers know alpha. We
Oh.
talk airspeed, but to the
Okay.
computers, airspeed is alpha,
Right.
angle of attack.
That's-
Okay, so we did that. We've got hydraulics. Now where do we
Right.
come? This is air conditioning pressurization. Doesn't work in our simulator. Do you know why? Because we're in a
Because
room
we're
at
not-
sea level.
right.
I can't pressurize.
Yeah.
But I'm going to set this up for engine start. I want the air from that APU
Okay.
to go into the main engines. I could put it into the air conditioning system, all right? But in a 737, we can't air condition the cabin and start the engines at the same time. The 777 can, the 787 can, the 747 can, all the new airplanes can, the Airbus A350, the A340, the A330. But the lowly 737, you get one or the other. You get engine start or you get air conditioning.
Conditioner.
Today we're
Alright.
opting for engine start.
start,
I don't
right.
care about the air conditioning.
Right.
So notice we're at the end of our panel. We have a
Right.
bunch of stuff here we're going to turn on the taxi out. We have some stuff here we're going to set up as we set this up. So let's go to the next page, which is route.
Okay.
And notice my KSFO is down there where I put it. I'm going to put it up here in origin. We're going to fly to the end of the bay down here to San Jose,
Okay.
KSJC.
Okay.
The runway we're going to take off is runway 1 left. So I put,
Okay.
oops,
Okay,
one
that's
left,
the scratch pad, and then
right?
you push
And
the
we put
button
it up there.
right.
So I
Okay.
activate, execute that route, and it's
Okay.
actually going to come up in a few seconds as a magenta line, but that's not the line we're going to fly today. So I'm going to go to performance now. Remember we said for that V1 call, we give the airplane 3 pieces of information.
Weight.
It's got the first one. It's got the runway.
Weight.
Now, let's go give it the weight.
Weight.
Let's press the
Okay.
0 fuel weight button. That weight comes from company at
Okay.
airlines. We're not a company, so it's already in our computer. The 0 fuel weight is the weight of the airplane with passengers, bags, and meals, but no fuel. That's why it's called 0 fuel weight. The airplane computer adds the fuel load to it, and our gross weight today is 137.1. By the way, Captain, are you happy with that fuel load, or would you like me to put more fuel on? You happy with that?
How far are we?
We have more than enough. It's one of the things we have to consider in the flight.
Oh,
We have
yeah,
enough today.
plenty.
So captain's decision, plenty of fuel, and you
Yeah.
are right. Now, we need to have some reserves of 5,000. What does that mean? That means when we land at our destination, we have to have at least that in the tanks. Because if an FAA inspector comes up and says, you don't have 5,000 in the tanks, why? Well, we have to hold a little longer. If you have a good reason, that's the end of it.
Right.
If you don't have a good reason, he's going to give you a violation.
Right.
You must have this in the tank, because if we can't land at the airport,
Right.
we need that fuel to go somewhere.
Right.
5,000 pounds of fuel in this airplane is the minimum reserve. It's
Right.
about 45 minutes of fuel. How do I know that? Because this airplane and simulator, this simulator is like the real plane. It's
Right.
going to burn 100 pounds a minute. Every minute we fly, this airplane is going to get 100 pounds lighter. I have it set that way. All right.
Cost index you've done, right?
Cost index, I'll do 25. We're not going to use it today. That has to do with something called the VNAV.
VNAV,
We're not going to
right.
use it because we're not flying a big, long flight.
Okay.
I am going to put an altitude up here of 5,000 feet.
The initial climb. Okay.
That's what we're going to fly to, and I'm going to put 5,000 up there. We're probably never going to go above 5
Right.
today because we're just doing a flight training session.
Right.
Now, I'm going to go to the next page we need, which is takeoff. So now the airplane has the runway, and it's got the weight. Guess what I'm going to tell it now, the flap setting.
Flap setting 10
So-
degrees.
Actually, you're going to be shocked. We're going to use flaps 1. That is the most popular takeoff setting in the Boeing 737.
Oh, cool.
Believe it or not.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to set the flaps to 1 at the right time.
Okay.
I'm going to bring up the CG. Now, there's no takeoff speeds there.
Right.
Watch when I bring the speeds up here on the computer. They will transfer, and they're already there. Look,
Okay.
first one's not even shown. V1, the computer calls that, goes V1. And then I'll say rotate. And you're going to do this big, huge pullback,
Okay.
right? Try the yoke. Have you tried it yet?
Flight control test, right?
Pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Sorry?
That's without hydraulic power?
That's what it's going to feel like. It's got hydraulic power on it right now. Look.
Oh,
You've got hydraulic. Your
okay.
controls are working. Here, you want me to show you your controls are working?
Alright.
Work the controls. Look, there's your ailerons and spoilers. Move your elevator up and back. Look. Now, press your rudder pedals. See the rudder moving? So when you have hydraulics, controls work.
Okay.
All right? So that just shows you your controls are really working in there. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So, the first one, the airplane calls out V1. I say rotate. You give me that 10 degrees.
Okay.
So it's going to be a big pullback. And then the yoke is going to come forward. You're going to hold 10 degrees while I get the gear and flaps up. And then I'm going to hit a switch up
I
here.
don't hold it. Alright, I pull back and let
You're
go.
going to pull back and you're going to release the pressure
Right.
to keep the airplane at 10 degrees.
Because if I keep holding back, it'll
You're going to
keep...
stall. You'll keep going up like that and stall.
Right.
All right.
Just wanted to make sure.
We want 10 degrees to accelerate. And then, after I get the gear and flaps up, I'll say fly the pink lines.
Okay.
You're going to see them on takeoff. You're going to see the vertical one up and down. You're going to see the horizontal one up at the top. I don't want you to fly them until I tell you to.
Okay.
Because the FAA doesn't want us flying them to where minimum 400 feet.
Set
Okay.
the time.
Now, the time, we don't do anything with that. That's not even the right time. believe it or
No,
not.
it's not. That's what I looked at. It's like,
Yeah. So I could set them, but they'll go off in a
Yeah.
while because those clocks go on and off with the simulator. All right, next thing I want to do, I'm going to crank that up a little bit. Let me set that over there. Next thing I want to do is I want to go departure and arrival. We're going to
Okay.
fly the ILS,
Uh-huh.
12 right San Jose, executed. There's the legs page. And you
Okay.
can't see the legs are at the bottom of that pink line, magenta.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go up here and give you your flight training practice. So there's a point on the other side of the Golden
Waypoints,
Gate
right?
Bridge called Sausalito.
Oh,
So
yeah.
watch. I'm going to put
Okay.
Sausalito on the map. And you will see it come up eventually.
Okay.
After that, I'm going to put Oakland. We're going to fly and see Nancy Pelosi, my friend, over in Oakland. Look, there they are.
Okay.
Now when I hit execute, they disappear for a second. Now I'll bring them back. And I'll bring them back as I change. There we go, they're back. So there's our route. The computer thought about it, all right? But we could fly that route if we want to with this LNAV button. We're not going to be up long enough, but
Right.
that's mainly there so I can get you back to the landing. Because remember,
Okay.
I'm not only your instructor and your co-pilot, I'm your air traffic controller. So
Right.
I've got to be able to get you
Yeah.
to San Jose.
Okay.
So there's the route. Now, last thing, we have the takeoff numbers, right?
Uh-huh.
I want the landing numbers to come up at the right time. So I go to initial reference, index, approach. And I'm going to pick a flap speed for landing. Let's go flaps 40.
Okay.
Our speed's going to be 138 plus 5 in there for the landing. We add 5 to that so we never go below that speed.
Absolutely.
That's a big no-no.
Dangerous.
The course for our landing in San Jose is
Uh-huh.
124. They're already set at 124 because I landed there earlier today. The frequency for that ILS approach for the localizer and
Right.
glide slope is 110.9,
Okay.
and that's in the number 1 navigation radio. It's in the number 2 navigation radio. These are the communication radios. We don't do communication, but that's how we would be talking to the controllers. All right. And finally, the runway we're going to is 11,000 feet long. So that's really a long runway, more than 2 miles. So we're at the point where we can do anything here, and we're at the point where you need to make a decision. But before we do that, I want to make sure you understand the trim.
Okay.
So I'm going to press these buttons, and I want you to hear that sound. You press them forward.
Oh, okay.
Press and hold them for a second or two.
Nose down.
Press them. You're not pressing them, press them.
Pressing.
Push both buttons forward and hold them.
Oh, both. Okay.
Both of them? Good. Now, do it the other way. Back. Okay, now, that noise you hear, that's the noise I don't want to hear more than 2 seconds.
seconds, okay.
So when you need to trim it nose down, you're already pushing the nose,
Right.
you would go this way with the buttons like this.
Uh-huh.
For 2 seconds, let go. Oh, I need one more. Or I did too much, so I go back, go the other way.
Uh-huh.
But if you get on there for 3, 4, 5 seconds, you're going to wind up flying like this. You're never going to get the level flight position. So I'm going to help you with that the first few minutes you're
Okay.
flying and help you get that. So I'm going to set the trim now for takeoff so that when you take off, I don't want the airplane flighting you too much. So I've done that. So now we're at the point where you have to make a decision. This is one of those captain's decisions. And I'm going to show you what your decision's all about.
Uh-huh.
I don't touch that switch.
Okay.
That is your switch.
Okay.
What is that switch?
Fasten seatbelts for the
What?
cabin.
You want to put it on?
Sure, why not?
Put it on.
Okay.
You have to put it on.
Yeah, it's a
What
little-
does the flight attendant do when she hears that ding dong?
She'll get on the cabin PA and tell
So, ladies and
everybody.
gentlemen, Captain has turned on a fasten seatbelt sign. We are preparing for departure.
Alright.
Stow your electronics. Make sure your
Alright.
seatbelt is fastened. Make sure your tray table is in the upright and locked
Right,
position.
right.
Make sure your seat is upright and locked. Stow the kids in the carry-on. We are getting ready for pushback. Okay? So, we're going to push back. So my job now as first officer, remember we have 2 radios and you have an intercom that you're talking to somebody on. I call the ground controller. Do you have a call sign you want to use today, or you want me to make one up?
Go ahead.
We are American 1. It's a
Okay.
real flight. I'm retired from American. I actually flew that flight in the 767. Okay? So American 1, we're at gate Bravo 28, and we need to push back and start.
Okay.
And the controller will come back on, say, Roger, American 1, push tail south, advise ready to taxi.
Okay.
Now, you're on the other headset. You're talking to the guy that's in that push cart in front of us. And he's going to call you up and say, Captain, we got you all buttoned up. All the doors are closed. It's clear behind you. We put a cat in the number 1 bin.
Okay.
Are you ready for pushback, Captain?
Right.
Tell him, are you ready for pushback?
Ready,
Yes.
willing, and able.
You're ready for pushback, aren't you? Yeah,
Yeah.
no, you're ready for pushback. So
Okay.
he'll say to you, Captain, release your parking brake. Push that forward, get the red light off. And Captain, confirm that we are cleared to push. Confirm. Make sure that he knows.
Right.
Confirm. Are we cleared to push?
Yep.
Cleared to push. All right, Captain, here we go. So we're going to start moving back, and he's going to say, Captain, which way do you want the nose? Left or right? The
I'll
guy,
say left.
the controller said tail south, which is to the left.
Okay.
Which way does the nose have to go?
To the right.
So you're going to tell him in plain English. He's not a PhD out there.
Jesus,
Tell him.
feels like I'm moving.
Tell him. Put the nose to the right. Tell
Okay.
him.
Nose to the right.
Nose
please.
right. Very good.
Okay.
So this is what a pushback looks like. You've probably never seen this view before.
No.
I saw this all my life as we got pushed back. So here we are pushing back. And I'll just tell you, normally we start the engines on the pushback. I'm going to wait till we're stopped today, okay? So that we can devote all our attention.
It feels like a motion simulator.
It feels like it. It's because your eyes fool you. That's why when you both get out, you got to watch for that step.
Right.
Because we always invariably have somebody falls off that. So at some point, the guy is going to come back. And he's going to say, your pushback is complete. Set your parking brake. So Captain, your pushback is complete. Set your parking brake. Pull that out sharply. Very good. Notice the plane stops. The red light is on.
Okay.
He disconnects. He drives away. And as he drives away, he does something strange. He puts his hands up in the air.
Start the engine.
That means you can start
Yes.
both engines,
Yeah.
your discretion. Now,
Okay.
if he did this and points to that engine,
Left
that's the
engine.
one he wants you to start.
Right.
If he does that,
Right
he wants
engine.
the other engine
Okay.
started. He drove away and did this. That means the engine start is at your discretion, which one you want to do. So, Captain, you ready for engine start?
Yes.
Let me do my before start checklist. Again, I'm not reading any lists. I'm doing everything I need to do. Captain, before start checklist, complete your airplane. So, start the engines. Which
Okay.
one do you want to start first? One or two?
One will do one.
Oh, there's number 1 right there. Turn it to ground start.
Ground start.
Start valve open, and look, N2 rotation. N2 is the core of the
Core of
engine.
engine.
The
Compressors.
fan is the N1, which is also turning, but this is what
Right.
we start with. When you see 20 here, I want you to pull this out, up, and
Right.
in. And that will introduce fuel,
Okay.
and it will start the spark plug. So get ready to do that.
Okay.
Pull it out,
Pull it out.
up, and in. Pull it out, all the way up. Pull it up in one motion, lock it in.
Okay.
Look, you have lit the engine, and one of us has to keep their hands there.
Right.
In case that engine starts to catch on fire, we need to knock that lever down.
Okay.
We know there's a fire when that gauge turns red and flashes at us. When you see 55, you have a successful start, turn the start switch off. In real life, the airplane turns that off at 56. Captain, turn the other engine, go ahead. So, start valve open, N2. About 1 in every 400 starts, you're not going to see that or that, because these connections are pneumatic, hydraulic, mechanical, they break all the time. Did you see 20? Nope, you didn't see 20. Notice the engine wouldn't even light. You need to see 20. Now bring it up. Now it lights. Notice? Yeah.
50 would turn off.
At 55, turn the start switched off. Remember, someone always has to have their hand there. When we're in training, if the first officer doesn't have his hand there, the entire crew fails that training session.
Oh.
Yep. So if you see 55, start switch to off. Very good. All right, now, this airplane is still stabilizing this engine. Here's what a stable idle looks like. 20% N1, which is the fan. When we control the thrust, look at that, we control the fan. The EGT is 435 degrees Celsius. That's 700 Fahrenheit. On takeoff, we're going to go to over 700 centigrade, about 1100 Fahrenheit. As a reference, your oven at home goes to about 550. So already we're at 700 degrees idling. All right, Captain, we need to do the after start checklist. So I'm seeing some generator lights on. We need to turn the main generators of the engine on. So I need you to put those on. Oh wait, was there momentary contact? Good, you got it. Do the other one. No, not that one, it's APU. You're already on that. Press that one. Oh, good. Now look, let go. The APU is saying, what about me? You want to use him? He burns 300 pounds an hour. We're not using him. Why don't you just turn him off? All right, that's it. It's going to go off. Captain, I have a request. The captains are, people are dying back there. Can I turn the air conditioning on?
Yeah, sure.
Very good. So, let me turn the air conditioning on. Now the people are getting air conditioning, and I still see a bunch of warning lights. So depress that yellow light for half a second and let go. And look, let go of it. No warning lights.
Okay.
All right, if a warning light comes on, I'll take care of it. We do have a sim problem where on takeoff the air conditioning light comes on. It is not a problem, it is a programming problem because our program now is being changed from Microsoft to Lockheed P3D. So we're in the middle of it. So that light comes on because it hasn't been coordinated with the P3D. Right? So in the meantime, we've got everything running. I'm doing the after start check. And let me tell you right now, I would call ground and I would get a taxi clearance. And I would say, American 1 ready to taxi. He'll say, Roger, American 1, right turn out of the gate, make the next 2 right turns, taxi to runway 1 left, which is right behind us. So we're going to do that in a few seconds. And as we were taxiing, you would tell me to do the before takeoff checklist. So I'm going to do that while we're sitting so you can watch me do what I'm doing. All right? So you call for the before takeoff checklist. First thing I reach for, what do you think it is? The flap lever. We need flaps 1. While I'm up here, I go in auto brakes to RTO. Check the takeoff. Now, I would go up here and I would start turning all the lights on for takeoff. I'll turn the igniters to continuous. That keeps the flame pattern going in the engine if we hit turbulence. Okay? I'm going to turn the strobes on. I'm going to turn the flight directors and the auto throttle on. We are basically ready for takeoff. Now you can go ahead and taxi. So to taxi, you have to take the brake off. You have to give it thrust. Remember, we weigh almost 70 tons, and this doesn't work on the ground. Not going to do anything for you. Rudder pedals. So right turn out of the gate, make the next 2 right turns is what the controller said. Go ahead, give it some thrust. I'm going to show you how much thrust you need to get going. Hit that right pedal, start the airplane going. Give it full right pedal. Because there is a yellow line I want you to taxi and follow. That yellow line that goes out there and turns, because we're going to go on that taxiway and taxi that way. So we have to make 2 90s or a big 180 on that yellow line. See how it's going to go to the right? Now bring the power back. We don't want to go too fast. So start to hit that right pedal because there's always a lag. There's that line. We want to keep it under us. And I'm on there helping you to show you. Okay, so we need a little bit of thrust. We're going to hit that right pedal all the way in because we're going back that way. Look how far I'm pushing that pedal. And look how the nose moves almost to the sideways. Okay, so you can taxi down that yellow line. So the before takeoff checklists are complete, and now the tower comes up and says, American 1, you're going to be ready at the end? Well, the end is right there by that sign. Captain, you going to be ready to take off from there?
Yes.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, American 1 is ready. And the controller will come on and say, American 1, runway 1 left, cleared for takeoff. Fly runway heading, maintain 5,000 feet. So we're going to be making another big 180 or 2 90s onto the runway going back that way. You doing okay back there? Does it look real?
Yes, it does.
Oh, get some rudder in. Remember, the brakes are at the top of the pedals. If you need to slow down, you can hit both brakes and slow it down. Look at that. I checked to make sure there's no one coming in on final. There's your runway. 1 more left turn. And we're cleared for takeoff. So the minute you're on the center of the runway, I want you to apply power to 40% N1.
Okay.
Get in the center of the runway. Keep the airplane moving though. Don't stop it. Keep it moving. Give a little bit of thrust.
Thrust
Yeah,
rev?
yeah, bring it up to 40%. Right there, that's enough. You see the 40?
Alright.
Let go of those controls. And when you get it straightened out, I'm going to turn the auto throttle on. Okay? So get it on the center. Captain, are you ready for full power?
Full power.
Here you
Take
go.
up power. I have control.
You have control. Captain, you have full power. The airplane is yours. And I'm going to start making American Airlines calls. Captain, power set, airspeed alive. 80 knots, cross checks, throttle hold. I'm just reading the annunciators and the instruments. You're going to hear V1 in about 3 seconds.
V1.
Rotate. Pull back, 10 degrees nose up, boss. Pull it back, there's the bay, I don't want to go swimming. Pull. Here, you got to pull this thing way up. Pull it up. 10 degrees. Takes a big pull, doesn't it? Captain, I see positive rate of climb. What would you like?
Gear up.
Gear's coming up, boss. Now I want you to hold 10 degrees. We need to accelerate, and look, you're going to the flaps up speed. What can you command me?
Okay, flap 0.
Flaps up. Say flaps up. Very good. Captain, have takeoff climb is complete. You can fly the pink cross. Fly the pink cross, boss. So, you gotta do what to get that pink on the black?
Pull
You
up.
gotta pull up or push down?
Pull up.
Well, does that do it? Makes it worse. Better push it forward or you're gonna stall. You need to push it forward. Push it forward. Push it forward. Put that pink on the black. Yeah. Takes a big push forward, doesn't it? Okay? American
Yeah,
1.
that's it.
Turn left, 340. Notice, I want you to go that direction. The line went left. And the airplane is fighting you, trying to go up now, isn't it? You're pushing forward. Why don't you trim it forward a little bit? For 1 second forward. Take that pressure off. You got to hear that ch-ch noise. Press till you hear the ch-ch noise. That's it. Stop. Is that more controllable?
Yeah, look.
What do you see out your left window?
What do I see on my left window? Golden Gate Bridge.
Very good. Well, as long as I know you're looking out. I'm going to do that once. 1 to go, boss. 4 for 5. That's what that tone was. Captain, watch your heading. You're getting off your heading. This needle says you went past it. We need to go to the right now to line that under there. So your takeoff climb check is complete. You have to level us at 5,000 feet with the pink on the black.
Here comes 5,000 feet.
All right, keep the pink on the black. Trim any pressure off so the airplane will kind of stay there. You're in the right bank, you kind of lost your heading, so fix it. Put that pink on the black, get your heading back. Ah, I can see Alcatraz Island down there. Captain, that was the airplane yelling at you for going up 200 feet. Fix it, please, or I'll have to take over. Remember, there could be a little VFR airplane up there at 5,500. So, just put the pink on the black. The airplane knows to go to 5,000 because it says it right there. That means put the pink on the black, I'll give you 5. That's what the computer is telling us. Good, level the wings. So when you have the heading lined up, you want the wings level, you want the world to look level. Now, pink is above the black, you're diving, pull it up a little bit. We shouldn't see that much ground. That's about how much ground we should see in level flight. If you don't see any ground like right now, you are going up and the pink is not on the black. So put the pink on the black, or you're going to go right through that fight. In other words, you're going to keep doing this if you don't get that pink on the black. The airplane's going to yell at you again. Nose down. Now, is there pressure making you go up?
Yes, it is.
All right.
Trim down.
Trim it nose down another bit. And when you get a chance, I want you to press Command A autopilot.
Okay.
Let go of that yoke, turn on the autopilot. Great. Notice it says command in the wheel, in the window.
Right.
Now let go of the wheel. If you touch that, put pressure, the autopilot will
You can
disconnect.
touch it like this.
Yep, it could disconnect. I want you to fly the airplane up here.
Okay.
American 1, turn left heading 270.
270.
Left 270. You can spin that as slow or fast as you want. Because the airplane on autopilot only turns one rate. 270.
Don't push the button, right?
Don't push it, just turn it. And look, the plane's turning. It's fixing your mistake. You left it at 5,300. It's going to 5,000. It's going to the proper airspeed. It's got the cross. The pink is on the black center, and your heading is going to come up there, and also there at the end of that long pink dashed line.
Okay.
That's us. See that? I want you to see that. That's us on the map. This is us in flight. American 1, turn left heading 220. 220. That's pretty cool, that autopilot, isn't it?
Makes it
The way-
easy to fly.
Makes it easy to fly.
Yeah.
We can change altitude
Okay.
or speed with it. Alright? Now you know how to use the autopilot. You let go of the yoke, you put it on, the autopilot fixes any problems you have. This autopilot will take us all the way to San Jose and land us if we ask it to. That wouldn't be any fun for you. You're going to land it manually. But we might use the autopilot on the first part of the approach.
Okay.
American 1, turn left heading 160. We're just making a big loop over San Francisco. So I think you're convinced that autopilot is pretty nice to fly, isn't it? Now I want to give you a little more hand flying practice. So when we're on that 160 heading, I'm going to have you take the autopilot off. And to do that, there's a red button on the yoke. If you hit that twice, blink, blink, at the right cadence, the autopilot will disconnect.
Good now.
Wait till you're on the heading of 160. Let the airplane roll out, and then you can fly it straight and level. I'm going to give you a little practice. When you go to fly the landing approach with these needles, they become more sensitive. That's why I want you to practice with them at altitude right now. So whenever you want, take the autopilot off, and I'm going to have you hand fly the airplane for a few minutes. Autopilot's off, that's that siren.
Okay.
American
My
1.
feet back on the rudder.
If you want, you don't need him in flight, only for landing. American 1, turn left heading 140.
40.
That's the heading you're going to put under there. That's the altitude I want you to hold by keeping the pink on the black. So go ahead. I'm just going to watch, see what you do here. I'm not going to teach right now. I'm just going to watch. What was that noise, Captain? What was that noise? Look what you're doing. You are corkscrewing into San Francisco. You are going to die in about 40 seconds. So can you fix all this? You've lost 1,500 feet. It's the height of a good sized building in Dubai. And where's the heading that we want?
140.
Yeah, it was 140. Where's 140? Isn't it to the right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Boy, you are all over the sky. That's okay, we're just playing. Look at what you're doing out here. You're doing aerobatics. You hear the airplane yelling at you? Because you're scaring the passengers. Remember I said we do about 20 degrees of bank?
Right.
That's right about there. Right? And you kind of got back to where you wanted. But you were all over the sky there. Alright? That's okay. This is a flight lesson. Let's get back to your heading. Let's go 120 heading. 120. And I want you to maintain 5,000. Can you put the pink on the black? Because if you don't, me or the autopilot can do it. Look how you gained 800 feet, 860 feet. And there's your heading. So look outside, look at the world. That does not look good to me. You are diving into San Francisco Bay. So just look out, fix the picture outside. Level the airplane. Look outside, level the plane. Level the wings, you're in a turn. By level, I mean this. Make the world look kind of normal.